Do you ever wonder which players have been around since the very beginning of competitive Fortnite? When people say Fortnite is dying, they usually say that all of the players and streamers from Chapter 1 and all the early seasons have left the game and moved on. But they would be shocked to find out that many of the players who were dominating all the way back in 2018 are still placing today. Fortnite has been around for more than 4 years now, and it seems like the competitive scene is full of players that are younger than the Xbox 360. Back in the day, the competitors were much older and they may not play competitive anymore, but many of them are still playing Fortnite. SypherPK is probably the biggest content creator in the scene today, but most people forget how successful he was in competitive. During the summer skirmish, Cypher finished in 7th alongside Nick Merckx and took home over $6,000, not to mention he almost qualified for the World Cup in duos. Ninja and Nate Hill also got into competitive during the summer skirmish, but they actually placed long after that, finishing in 8th during the squad's grand finals together in 2019. These guys still play the game today, but they dropped competitive a long time ago. This next class of players have been playing for a long time, but haven't been competing since the very beginning. But before we reveal who these players are, I have to call you out, because 98% of the people watching this video right now aren't even subscribed to our channel. We make 2 great videos like this one every single week. Help us out and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video. Now back to the subject at hand. BenjyFishy and Mr. Savage were well known and popular before the World Cup, but they couldn't play in the summer or the winter skirmishes due to age restrictions at the time. Once that competitive age was lowered down to 13, these two burst onto the scene and have been dominating ever since. If you want to see more about Benji and his story, check out this video we made about his legendary time trioing with Mongrel and Mitro. But back to him and Mr. Savage. These two qualified for both the solos and the duos events of World Cup, but they didn't have much success when they actually got to New York. Unlike Aqua, who of course would become a millionaire after winning the duos event at World Cup, and he's still around today, placing 10th in the Grand Royale. And speaking of placing 10th, the 10th place finisher in solos at the World Cup is the very underrated French-Canadian Fatch, who just placed first in the most recent tournament, the qualifiers for the Twitch Streamer Bowl. Fatch is still very unknown, but on the flip side of that coin, there's Clix, who's still one of the most popular streamers in the community, and he's been winning tournaments ever since he qualified for the World Cup 5 separate times. Even today, he's one of the most mechanically gifted players in the game, alongside one of his former teammates, Bugha, who was carried to World Cup by his dad in this unforgettable video. While he didn't place well at the World Cup, he's since become one of the most consistent competitive players on NA East, even coming in 3rd during the last grand finals alongside his teammate Macwood. Macwood has also been around since World Cup, qualifying for duos alongside Young Calc, and recently he's even won a trio FNCS during Season X, and he's even placed 3rd in the Grand Royale, again alongside Bugha. While all of these players are great, they've only really been in the competitive scene since the World Cup or right before it. But Fortnite competitive goes back far beyond the World Cup. And yes, there are players, believe it or not, that have been around since the very first tournament that Fortnite ever held. That tournament would be the Summer Skirmish that we talked about earlier in this video. It was an event with a massive $8 million prize pool held over 8 weeks, and you're going to be shocked when you see who was taking home this crazy amount of money. Content creators that today would be getting boxed like a fish by every single 11-year-old It's Jarian viewer were winning tens of thousands of dollars back in 2018. I'm talking about creators like Valkyrae, Pokimane, Courage JD, and Dr. Lupo, all winning and placing these tournaments. Even crazier is that these guys were beating out the following players who have now gone on to become some of the greatest players of all time. Starting out on EU, there are 3 players that have stuck it out through the test of time and have been placing for pretty much the entirety of competitive Fortnite. Skite, Kinzel, and yes, Mitro have all been placing ever since that first summer skirmish. Mitro is easily the most well-known out of this group, but Skite and Kinzel deserve their respect as well. Skite won a week of the summer skirmish and placed first in the EU solos of the Winter Royale. Another crazy fact about Skite is that he placed in the top 10 for both solos and duos at the World Cup, and even after that, he placed 3rd in the squad's grand finals, Plus, he's still around competing today. When we look back at the history of Fortnite, Skite is a name that often gets glossed over, but he absolutely deserves credit for sticking around the whole time and being dominant throughout all of Fortnite's competitive history. Bizzle also got his start in the Summer Skirmish, winning Week 5 of the event alongside his teammate, none other than Mitro. These two are both continuing to compete today, and we hope that they stick around for the long haul because we know how successful they've been throughout their Fortnite careers. Mitro, of course, having that incredible run with Mongrel and Benji that we just talked about in our last video, and on top of that, he would go on to win the trio FNCS with Mongrel and Tayson in Chapter 2 Season 4. Moving on to NA East, there are surprisingly a lot of players that are still around from the very start of Fortnite. And to get us started, I'm going to talk about one of the absolute GOATs in my opinion, Reverse2k. He's been underrated many times, and while these days it appears Halo might be stealing his focus away from Fortnite, Reverse has been around from the very beginning, and he's been incredible that entire time. He started out his career by placing in almost every single week of the Summer Skirmish, both in solos and duos, and his accomplishments since then are too long for one video, but I'll try to give you a quick recap. Reverse qualified for the solos at World Cup, almost qualified with Ninja as a duo as well, plus he placed 10th in the squad's FNCS alongside Ninja and Nate Hill. Getting to that great of a placement with two content creators that really weren't very focused on competitive at the time is remarkable. And as far as recently, I'm sure you all remember that he's won 2 trio FNCSs as well as placed 4th in another in just the past year. While sadly it seems like Reverse may finally be moving on from Fortnite, we had to mention him because of how long he's been dominating the scene and the fact that he's still placed in the most recent grand finals. Next up, we have 2 millionaires, and let's see if you guys can guess who they are based on these accomplishments. Both have been placing in tournaments since the Summer Skirmish, they've both been signed to major organizations in the past, and they also both placed in the top 5 during the World Cup. Drop your guesses in the comments below, and let's get it started. The first player is Cease, who alongside his duo Elevate absolutely dominated the early days of competitive duos. Cease made tens of thousands of dollars during the Summer Skirmish, but nothing would top his 3rd place finish at the World Cup, where he would take home over $1 million for his 3rd place finish. Cease had a bit of a slow spell after the World Cup with some bad placements that then led to struggles for him to find good teammates, but he has now come back with a vengeance. His placements in the last season have been great, including a 5th place finish in the Grand Royale. It's been awesome to see Cease come back, and we hope that he continues to dominate going forward. If you couldn't guess that first player was Cease, maybe this will help you out, and hopefully your second guess will be correct, because the second player on our list from becoming a millionaire at World Cup is Creo. He placed 4th in the solos event, and ever since has been absolutely dominating. At one point, he even got so good at the game that he learned how to get unlimited Storm Surge and even get paid time off from Fortnite. But in all seriousness, Creo has been one of Fortnite's top players since the very start of the game, and we hope that he sticks around for years to come as well. And finally, that brings us to our last player who has stuck through the test of time and is easily in the conversation for the greatest Fortnite player ever. Before we reveal who that is, if you've made it this far in the video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. That way you will never miss an upload, and it'll really help us out. Now, enough waiting. The longest standing, most successful player in Fortnite is none other than Rocco Morales, aka Saf. Saf has been winning tournaments ever since the Summer Skirmish when Fortnite Competitive began, and while some things about Saf have changed over the last 4 years, his dominance of the game has never wavered. Saf has won major LAN events like the ESL Katowice, almost won the World Cup before getting killed by heavy snipers in games 4 and 5, and he even won the duo FNCS. All of those accomplishments, of course, happened alongside his longtime duo Zate, but since Zate retired, Saf has not slowed down one bit. He's placed top 5 in several FNCSs and won countless numbers of cash cups, and it doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. If you think we missed anyone in this video, please let us know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.